Hey guys, it's Jeff. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing The Lost by Natasha Preston. So what I really appreciate about Natasha Preston's writing is how quickly she gets into her books. By the end of chapter 2, we're already in the thick of, the main plot of the book. Things have already ramped up, and she wastes no time getting into exactly what her book is about. The main narrator is Piper, and her best friend Hazel is right by her side the entire time. They're both introverts, and they decide, we want to live life a little bit, so we're going to go out to this secluded lake area in the forest and kind of have a little party with not really their friends, but just other people their age that go to their school. And they live in a small town, and there's been a lot of disappearances lately that are unexplained. The most recent one being the 11th or the 12th one. And they're we want to do a little bit of investigating because they're both kind of into that. They're into, crime documentaries. They watch them in their spare time. They're we're going to do a little bit of investigating to try to find out where these disappearances are happening and if anybody knows anything about where these people are going. So they go to this lake. They meet a couple guys there that they're really attracted to, the popular guys at school, Caleb and Owen. Caleb and Owen invite both Piper and Hazel back to their secluded clubhouse secret lair thing that they've got in the forest on their property. They get invited inside and then realize that this place is basically like a bunker where Caleb and Owen are the ones that have been kidnapping people, bringing them back to this secret lair, and they've been torturing them inside of 6 different rooms, each room with a different torture device. They keep these people, these mainly teens, secluded in this waiting common room, and then one by one they pull them out and say, "Piper, to the waiting room, please." And then they'll unlock a certain door. You go inside that door, and then whatever torture device is waiting for you inside that room, you have to basically just try to survive it throughout the extended amount of time that you are staying in this bunker. One of the problems that I had with that is that Natasha didn't really leave a lot of room for. There's a lot of suspense in the book, but I think it would have been more suspenseful if she didn't explain what each room was so early on in the book. Piper gets there, Hazel get there, and when they reach the common room, they see that they're not alone there. There's 4 or 5 other people that are captured, and they recognize that those people have been the people that have been kidnapped and are missing from their town, from their small town. And naturally, as you would probably want to tell people in your similar situation, all right, here's what's going on. They've got us captured here. They bring us into these rooms. Room 5 is water torture, or room 3 is extreme temperatures, and room 4 is sound, and one of them is sleep deprivation. And then there's a room called room 0 where they put 2 people in there and they basically have to fight to the death. So I think it was revealed a little bit too early on, what each of those rooms were. I think it would have been more suspenseful if Natasha had found a way to say, all right, Piper, you're going to go into room 4. And then when she gets there, it's all right, what's this table doing here? Or what's this, everything that's in this room, what are these speakers doing here? Because one of them is really loud sounds that they just blare for hours and hours on end, and you have to sit there and just endure it. And it gets you extremely exhausted. So it didn't leave a lot open for a little bit of mystery. It makes sense in the context of the book, because if you're going through this with other people, obviously they're going to want to tell you, all right, be prepared for this room. This is what's happening in this room, and they're collectively as a group trying to get through everything and survive it as best that they can. So the characters, I you know, I liked Piper and Hazel. They're pretty cool. Piper's kind of like, I like this running theme that Natasha has where she's a very strong female character. That's really cool. She always tries to stay positive even when things seem extremely grim at times. So that's really cool. Though I think that this book kind of suffers from something similar to The Cellar. There's another review that I did by Natasha Preston. And even though I gave that one a 5 out of 5, I think I remember saying that one of the things is that since like that one has to do with being captured also, this one has to do with being captured, it kind of suffers from a little bit of, all right, everybody's in the same room and you can't really tell how many days have passed because there's really no lights or there's no there's one small window where you can kind of tell when the sun is passing, but it's really hard to tell, you know, which day it is, which month it is. And along with that, there's a lot of like waiting around and kind of this, you know, this awkward small talk that they do. And there's not a lot of stuff going on other than what happens to them in these rooms. And it drags a little bit at times, and then it picks up, and then it kind of drags a little bit towards the middle, and then towards the end it ramps up and ends up ending in a way that I don't exactly like agree with all the way, because the ending kind of feels like didn't really make sense with Piper's character the entire time. She's this really strong character, and then the end of it kind of feels like it was chopped off all of a sudden and didn't really seem to fit Piper's character completely through. And what also kind of seems like it was put in too late is like in The Cellar, Natasha puts in different perspectives, different narrations. Like it goes from, I think her name was Summer to her boyfriend Lewis to the guy who kidnaps her, Colin. And with this one, it's mainly all Piper throughout the book until the last maybe like 50 pages of the book. It shifts narratives, and I didn't mind it, but it felt like that could have been done a little bit earlier in the book with other characters as well, because at least with The Cellar, even though Summer was trapped in Colin's basement for such a long time, the story always had this like forward motion of, all right, Summer's going through this monotonous, you know, living her day out every single day, kind of the same thing all the time. But then it would switch perspectives to her boyfriend Lewis, and Lewis would be the one that's, you know, going around town and searching for her, and then Colin would be out and about, you know, doing things, and you know, you get to see into the minds of different perspectives. And I think that's what really kept The Cellar driving forward. Whereas this one, it was, if she was choosing to switch perspectives in this book, but like way too late, almost to the point where the book is over with, and it's like it didn't really need to be. It almost felt like she did that to add like extra pages in the book, maybe. It just didn't really seem to fit in with this book. It could have if she'd done it earlier, but not so late in the book. So overall, I think I'm going to give this book a 3 out of 5. I would recommend reading it. It's a quick read. I only read it in a couple days. And, you know, if you just want something to, you know, chill out and relax too, even though the content of the book isn't relaxing per se. And there are times when your heart does get racing because you don't know exactly what's gonna happen to these characters. It's a quick read. It's an entertaining read. And that's one of the main things that I look for is, was it entertaining to read? Yeah, I'd say it was. So 3 out of 5. I would recommend picking this one up. Thanks so much for watching this book review, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks. Bye.